If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, SHR Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than SHR Shaun and SHR Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, SHR Radio.
Hack news. Hack news.
Radio.
Hack news. Hack news.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Hell no, to the no. Hell to the...
Welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, 2 days after Christmas, the 27th of December 2017, the last one of the year for us, folks. How is it that you have antlers after Christmas? That's what I want to know.
What do you mean antlers? Look, this is a wireless headset, which is weird. BZ said he got this for me for Christmas, which is weird because I still have this connection thingy. But he said it's to charge them, and he said that with the wireless headset, that these are antennas that actually help with the reception from the thingamajigger.
See, and I thought it was like headgear, but you know how they did for like dentists,
right? Except
for you, it would be for your nose,
right?
Right.
No, it's not. It's BZ got this for me as a beautiful Christmas present. It's literally wireless headset. It's he said they're charging, so this thingy has to stay plugged in.
Right.
And then the reception getters. That's a technical term.
You know, I am so glad that BZ's there to help you through your technology findings. He's working on his sound right now, I think, BZ. What do you got, dead headphones over there?
Yeah, they're dead.
We'll have to work on that.
Oh, see? Everybody laughs at the kid with the wireless.
There's no laughing about that right now.
Everyone just dies. Everyone have a good Christmas.
I lost you.
Where are you?
Okay.
Did everyone have a good Christmas?
Yeah.
Very quiet Christmas. Yeah, they're dead.
Okay, we'll work on that here
Dead
shortly.
is dead.
Dude, what are you doing over there? I can hear... Oh, Jesus. You done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just fixing the technology.
Okay. Jeez Louise. So you had a good Christmas, yes?
Yeah.
Good. You had a good Christmas, BZ? Quiet, you say?
Very quiet. Very quiet. Very small. Small. Very small.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, how about yours?
It was lovely, thank you.
It
I
was.
did. I had
Good.
a nice Christmas.
I missed my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Virginia. They're gone visiting family with their mom.
Well,
but I missed them. I missed them. But I had a great Christmas. B Dub and I had a fantastic Christmas. We were there with the in-laws and the nieces that were a lot of fun. Love my in-laws; they're great people, and I had a very nice Christmas.
Well, I'm glad.
Missed the kids, but had a great Christmas,
and that's what's important.
Yeah.
That's what's important, and obviously you'll celebrate with them anyhow. So,
oh yeah, no, look, they're awesome people. You know, they lost their house, and you guys remember they lost their house in the NorCal fire or whatever. So
hellacious.
Yeah,
absolutely hellacious.
But everybody's doing better.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that.
You know, they had everybody down there had a cold, and we had a Sacramento cold, so I'm sure we gave them the we were patient zero for the Sacramento
and
strain.
It went the other way for them.
Yeah, I'm patient zero for the Santa Rosa strain.
No,
so.
that's okay. I mean, it's got to pass around, right? That's how we build the immunities to it.
Right. Right.
It is the last show of the year. We're going to wrap up a lot tonight.
It is?
It is?
Look
Here,
at
play
this.
with this.
Look at this. Look at this. Hey,
Yes.
folks, when was the last time any of you had orange slices?
You can't freaking steal my line, BZ.
Remember these? These were great. And Clint, I have
Yes?
to give credit where credit is due.
Well, I got one.
I'm giving Clint credit
Credit.
for giving me
I can get a shot for that, right?
orange slices. I haven't had an orange slice literally in 20 years.
Let me ask you this now, because I surprised you guys with that off air. Let me ask you this on air. When is the last time you had circus peanuts? Settle down, BZ. I saw your hips. I saw your hips relax in your mouth. Your jaw kind of loosen up. Circus peanuts. TS. Peanuts, not penis. These little gems.
Little marshmallow.
Yes.
The orange marshmallow
yes.
thing.
When's
Yeah,
the last
okay.
time
All
you
right.
had one of those?
Or when's the last time you had, remember the little pink thingies with little sprinklies on them? Animal cookies?
Oh, well, so I have had
I've
animal
had
cookies
those.
pretty recently.
I've had those recently. Yeah.
Mothers, animal cookies. They had to be
Yes.
mothers.
Yep.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
let me, childhood question now. Of the two, which one? Oh, damn it.
BZ. Come on, BZ. You're good at catching penis in your mouth.
Crap.
How funny would it have been if that actually knocked me out cold?
Oh, I would have
I
laughed.
would love to go back and
run
see
to
that
You know
video.
what? I would have sent a tweet out so quick. Peanuts knocks Shaun out.
Yeah, we would have had to have somebody, quick, Clint.
Hit him right between the eye.
When's the last time you had a marshmallow circus peanut?
Honestly, I would have to say
20-something years, at least.
Oh, longer. I
Okay,
bet you when
catch
I was
this
a
with your hands.
kid.
We're all going to do it right now. There's only 3 left, so don't drop these. God
How did
damn it,
you
Shaun.
do that?
Pick it up.
It's already on
Here,
the...
ready? There you go. Oh, my gosh. All right, ready? We're all going to do this. It's
Here
the
we
last
go.
one.
All right.
1,
Two,
2, 3.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to use the orange slices.
All right, go ahead.
My other two are on the floor.
It's magical.
Pure sugar.
No, I can feel the diabetes start.
All right.
Orange slice is really, really good.
Yeah, the orange slices are awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question.
Okay.
When you were a kid,
Yeah.
did you get Oreo cookies or did you get Hydrox?
I think we got Hydrox.
See, we had Hydrox. We didn't rate. We didn't get Oreo cookies.
Yeah, we didn't have the money for Oreos, I don't think.
Bingo. Thank you.
So I think the
You
last
just had
time
to steal them.
I think the last time I had one of these was probably out of a little pharmacy right around the corner from my house named O'Neill's on Highland Avenue, and I was probably about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And O'Neill's was such a little pharmacy that my parents used to send me over there at a young age to buy cigarettes for them. There was no
Good clarification.
They had their little card credit in the back that they used to keep, to my memory, on the back of the cigarette cartons. They'd tear off the...
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
long piece, and that was your credit for the week, and you go and you pay the bill. I can remember that. And I got sent with money sometimes, and it's, you think back to how parents are now. I was probably 6 or 7, and I was crossing 2 pretty major streets to get there. And it wasn't far. It was only about 4 blocks, but I had to cross a major street one way and a major street the other way in order to get there. And I can just remember, you see parents now where they're like, oh my God, my kid went near the street. Holy shit. Right?
Well, that's because people now are freaking crazy.
But back then, my parents was sending me to dodge traffic for cigarettes.
Yeah, but you didn't have the
God,
fucking
love 'em.
wing nuts you have out there today,
No.
right?
I knew better. Well, no. The wing nuts were out there.
No, not like they are
Not-
today.
Are you talking parents or
No,
screwballs on the street?
Screwballs on the street.
I disagree.
Not to the same extent.
See, but you grew up in a smallish town, right?
A smish
Yeah.
town.
So
Yeah.
The screwballs would stand out. I grew up in a bigger city where there were screwballs everywhere. There were transients. I can remember all
hot
the
and cold running screwballs, didn't you?
Yeah. No, I can remember but we also had mass transit, and that brings the screwballs in from abroad.
Well, we don't
Or
need to bring. We
or
don't need to
for a
bring.
guy.
We don't need to bring women into this. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think you did because you didn't have them all out on the street with all of the everything that's available to them today that just brings them out. I mean, for example, look at downtown Sacramento.
Oh, yeah.
5 years ago.
Right.
Versus today.
Yeah, totally different.
Right? So that's why I disagree with that. But still, yeah, I used to roll up to the 7-Eleven on my bicycle when I was like 8 years old with my siblings.
Like nothing. There was nothing.
Yeah. I get the lick-a-stick or whatever those things were.
And BZ, so when you rode your dinosaur down to they didn't call it a store, just Grog's.
Yeah, they didn't call it a dinosaur, right? It was just
Grog's
just the
House
beast
of
or something.
Rocks.
Grog's House of
Grog's
Rocks
House of
and
Rocks.
Mud.
Right, and rock candy had a totally different meaning.
It did, yeah. You didn't have, back in the day, you didn't really have teeths.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
too many teeths.
You didn't need toofuses.
You didn't need toofs.
For people that don't know Sacramento, I'll give you a clue. There's an intersection in Sacramento called Fair Oaks Boulevard and Howe Avenue. When I grew up, Howe Avenue ended at Fair Oaks Boulevard.
Get out of here.
And
I didn't know that.
Fair Oaks Boulevard ran east and west. If you kept going south on Howe Avenue, you did nothing but run into hop fields.
You're kidding me.
Folsom Boulevard, everywhere south to the river, was hops.
Get out.
Fields and fields of hops.
I had no idea.
Yep.
I had zero idea. So
were you there to greet the Donner Party when they came in over the Rockies?
No. That was further east. I did meet them.
They came like into the valley, though, did they not?
Bill Donner could cook a mean human stew.
Well, somebody's got to do it, right?
Somebody's got to do it. Great ribs.
He didn't have orange slices. These are
He
damn
did
good.
not.
They're delicious, right?
Thanks again.
You're
These are
welcome.
great.
Look, I literally went to the corner store to get a water, and I saw those and peanuts, and they were like $2 for $1.
How could you say no?
So how could I not get a bag of orange slices and a bag of circus peanuts?
That is absolute. I cannot believe that, though, BZ. That's blowing my mind right now.
Right.
That is true.
Just
It's
because
very
I've
true.
been through that intersection, and it's such a major intersection that you can't imagine. I always figured that was just a main route, right?
Well, it is.
Well, it is now.
Now.
Well, right. So, but back east, a lot of your major roads stemmed up from just horse and cow paths, right? That's just, they got worn down, and then as you started adding wheeled vehicles, and then eventually, cars and everything, they just expanded a little bit. I mean, yeah, they put highways and all that, but a lot of the streets, which when everyone's like, why are the streets in Boston all fucked up? Well, because
they've been around since 17.
Well, and when the city was building, it was just like, all right, I'm going to put a house here. I'm going to put a house, because there was nothing else to block it.
Right.
And then they just keep growing, and then the paths form between them, and they built streets over the paths. That's all it was. So it's funny because, like, I can remember growing up, there are certain places where people are like, oh, I can remember where this ended here, or that street didn't go all the way through, or whatever. But that's one of those intersections that I would never imagine was cut short. That's just mind-boggling. I don't know. I'm a little blown away. I'm kind of happy you told me that. I like shit like that.
You do?
Yeah. It's just cool.
Yeah.
Because it's from such a different time, right? We talk about just how the world changes and how things get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, back then you had to go to the marshal when the bandits would come to town, right? And when BZ was growing up, the guy, one marshal.
That's a group, right?
I honestly thought you were talking about that shitbag hotel. I was like, yeah, the marshal, with all the bandits.
7th and L.
Yeah, all the freaking dirtbags used to stay there. Yeah, Shaun, yeah.
I thought it was weird. Every apartment was apartment 290. I thought that was the strangest
The
thing.
oddest thing, right?
Now that's actually funny. I gotta say, in chat we have Gary Baxter Donovan, we have Melanie, she's in chat, we have Mike, he's in chat, Mary Brockman, she's in chat, and White Mamba is in chat too.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the
These
chat
are really
room,
good.
shrmedia.com. You know what I want to do is, we have to just start bringing food for BZ to eat and then ask him to read something. I think that's a new, I love it. I absolutely love it. Welcome
It's a
everyone
new
to the chat
segment.
room, shrmedia.com. Click on live chat. We're
Mama
also
was in
on
chat was
Facebook
saying-
and YouTube this evening.
Mamba in chat was saying, I remember when we didn't have water in bottles. And I said, I remember when we had milk in bottles. And the milkman, you'd put your empty bottles out on the porch, and the milkman, exchange the bottles, get in his truck, and drive away.
So we still had a milkman. It had gone to plastic when I was growing up, but his name was Harry the Milkman. And I remember it was the Hood truck, Hood Milk Plant, Hood Dairy was in Boston, was the big Hood provider. And you could get anything from the milkman, too. It wasn't just milk. It was anything dairy related.
That was what the housewives used to say, too.
Right. Absolutely.
You can get anything from the milkman.
You can get absolutely anything from the milkman. I plenty of people tell me I look like the milkman. I'll still never understand that because we didn't look anything like each other. But it was weird that my mother said it. But other than that,
it was a different milkman from the one you actually met. But yeah, so you know what you meant.
My wife is going to kill you, by the way, because I'm eating orange slices and drinking Diet Pepsi.
Oh,
so,
you're going to be through the roof tonight.
I'll be great when I get home. Hey, I had a great show. Great show.
Everything was good. Do we have any sugar? I love sugar. Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? Like, actually, you want to hear a funny story about me when I was really, really young?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And I'll share this right now because you were just talking about the milkman. It made me think of it. So everyone who listens to the show knows my dad was a cop when I was growing up. So I always associated people in uniform with my father. So we were in downtown Boston, and there was a motorcycle cop parked in the corner. From what my mother described to me, I don't remember it because I was probably 5, maybe younger, was a large black man who was a Boston cop riding a bike. Well, he's sitting there talking to a few people. My mother happened to be just doing something around, and being the kid that I was, I walked over and I looked up and I was like, "Hi, Dad." And apparently the look on this poor cop's face.
That's funny, too.
Like I said, I don't remember it. I'm not saying I remember it. I've been told that story. And apparently my mother tried to explain to this poor guy who's now freaking out, right? Because some random...
What? I don't know.
No. You know, his dad's a cop and it's a uniform. And eventually the guy laughed, but it was like, yeah, can you imagine being that poor guy, right?
Oh, man. But how funny would it have been if he looked at her and said, "Oh, hi."
Hey! I knew this would come back to bite me in the ass. That story always made me laugh, and not because I did anything funny, but just the premise of it all.
Oh, no, you did do something funny, but
yeah,
you had no idea why.
It was funny.
Okay. Where were we just before we got here in the studio, Shaun?
We were down at Giovanni's having a great pizza.
Okay, and what did the kids do when they walked by me?
And they were like, "Oh, Santa's done for the season." Look, it's so nice to see him relaxing and having a pizza.
And what did your daughter say last night?
She asked how. Yeah, so I ran into BZ last night. I had my little one Leah with me, and just for a minute, and BZ and I talked, and she was just kind of staring at him and walked away and asked how I knew Santa. So, you know, I told her Daddy knows everybody.
He knows everybody. Don't try to pull the wool over your dad's eyes. He knows everything.
Are you kidding me? Of course he knows everything. Slow down, kid. So I do have a surprise Clint story. I don't know. This is going to be more comical. You may have heard it because it made the rounds for a little bit. But this one is from the Daily Mail, and there's a book coming out. And it's written by a guy who worked for the Secret Service, and his name is Gary Byrne. Claims Clinton would regularly sneak out of the White House to go visit mistresses. Have you heard this yet? This is a newer book.
No, but it doesn't shock me.
No.
The story is from December 2017. So everyone knows his buddy was his lawyer, Bruce Lindsay. That was his number one pal, his go-to guy. Apparently, it became such a problem that they actually had code words for it because he was sneaking out all the time. And they would redirect Hillary if he was up to shenaniganry around the White House to keep the distance. And they also had to make sure that if any mistresses were there, which says to you that they were there on a regular basis because there was something worth writing about, that you could never have Hillary run into any of his mistresses, so they would have the mistresses be pushed all over the White House in order to avoid the contact. The best part about this, do you know one of the craziest things is he was trying to sneak out of the White House? Do you want to know how? President of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America was sneaking out in the back of his friend's car with a raincoat over him to go meet his mistress. When we talk about debauchery in the White House, absolute insane debauchery in the White House.
And what do guys in rubber raincoats symbolize anyway?
Well, exactly, right? He's got the rain jacket on. It's probably all he had on. Knowing Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a pair of high socks, shoes, and that was it.
Hey, what do you think of this?
Can you imagine being the agent who discovers that? Because apparently, from what I was reading, is the car was trying to leave and didn't really want to slow down at the checkout gate. And they were like, "Oh, you got to stop." And finally, somebody was like, "Hey, we don't know where the president is." And they kind of put two and two together. and they lifted up the raincoat, and there was Bill Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton, the president of the United States of America.
Did you just say lifted up the raincoat?
Yeah, he was hiding underneath it in the back seat.
So how does that go, Mr. President? We need to go back in the house. Oh, hell no, I'm not going. I'm president of the free world. I'm leaving the White House. Sir, we're going to have to go with you. No, you're not. Yes, sir, we are. How's that work?
All right, into the trunk, boys. Grab your raincoat.
Mr. President, you're under arrest.
We're going to the dirty finger tonight.
The Secret Service and JFK's friends, you used to have to derail Jackie because it was standard practice that JFK would swim nude in the pool and that's where he would have his various liaisons.
Yes.
And then they would divert Jackie if
anywhere
she was
else
getting
they could.
close. But instead of JFK going out, he invited them into the White House.
And by the way, Jenny is also listening. I got a message from her saying that she's listening. I didn't want to forget her on the listener roll call tonight. So, but yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure JFK wasn't the only one. I think we keep looking at JFK as being like the only one because he was the younger.
Well, no, obviously he wasn't the only one.
Right, he was the younger, kind of suave, better-looking president than most of the other ones who has existed.
Yeah.
So naturally, that's the
you know what you don't hear about
anyone else.
Ronald Reagan.
Nope.
Or the Bushes.
Well, the Bushes.
Well, you hear about Bush. Wait, what?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different.
Usually when we're talking about Clinton.
Right.
Because they were close. Bill was close with President H.W.
Yes.
They were very, very close.
Bill loves the Bushes.
Yes. Actually, you know what's funny, and not to derail this conversation for a minute, because I want to get back to Bill under the
What is this
raincoat.
with the term derail while we're having sexual innuendo anyways? Once you rail something, you really can't derail it.
I just want to rail a different avenue with this.
Got it.
I just want to go another way with it.
Stick it to me.
Does anybody know the ridiculous, not ridiculous, the amazing relationship between Bill Clinton and the Bushes on a personal level, all joking aside?
Yes.
No.
Did you know about this,
No.
BZ? So apparently,
Like all of them,
have a
not
relationship with
not just like W also.
right?
I think.
No,
yeah.
no, very, very close.
Yeah.
But Bill and George H.W. He looks at him like a father because. I guess as soon as he started to politically come in and they made conversation, Bill didn't really know his father, all that. So apparently George Bush Sr. Was just really, really good when he was young, kind of bringing him up, just trying to teach him how to be an adult, And then they grew this amazing bond. And there's a great interview, politics aside. We know what I think of Clinton personally, too, on some levels. But this story I always thought was really, really cool. That they would be talking for hours and hours and hours. Whenever they'd go to like current and former president events, all that, they always had to get those two to like catch up to the rest of the group because they're like, hey. And George W. Bush tells a great story that they were at this event that was a dinner. He was the sitting president, and they're like, hey, Mr. President, we're ready to go eat. And they're like, where's my father and Bill? And so eventually he had to say to the Secret Service, hey, tell 41 and 42, 43 starving, and let's go. Because they won't stop talking. I guess it's like old souls together. It's just kind of a cool story.
Look,
you forget about some
Bill
things.
Clinton may have been. I mean, we may have disagreed on a lot of issues, but he was not, for a Democrat, he was not a horrible president.
Right.
Well, look, he wasn't. I mean, you look at how he worked with.
He could not be a Democrat today.
No,
absolutely
I agree with
not.
that.
On his platform.
But you look at what he did with Newt Gingrich.
Yep.
And when Dick Morris came in, and look, Bill Clinton was not horrible. Like as a president in terms of policy,
He was also he was a really good communicator, and he was very, very good at getting opposing sides to sit down and work out things.
I wouldn't have voted for him.
No, absolutely
And
not.
the guy may be a pig in his personal life. What the hell is that?
It looks like Zeppelin.
It is.
Yep, it's
See,
Zeppelin.
It's Zeppelin.
It is Zeppelin. He's the Zeppelin. No, but I do agree with you in that regard, Clint.
Look, he wasn't, and we talk about, hey, we give Dems credit where credit's due, and in terms of as a president, he was not horrible. He did some shitbag things for sure.
Budgetary.
He lied, and there were obviously some policies that were not so good, but there were a few things that he did pretty well. But
Listen,
I know
reforming
we-
welfare.
yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah, you couldn't do that today,
Especially as a Dem.
But I want to talk about, we have 6 minutes,
Yes.
5.5 minutes before the break. And we have a theme tonight.
Yes.
Here on the Sackheads Radio Show. And our theme in preparation for the new year, because we're building minds.
We are building minds
here,
and hearts.
Is mathematics.
Yes.
And so I'm actually going to go down our segments real quick.
Very good.
And coming up right away here, as soon as we're done going through the segments, is Common Core Math by CNN. Et al., and that is Nazism plus Trump equals Christianity and Merry Christmas 2017. Old School Math, which will be BZ's topic, which is Trump plus the UN minus 285 million equals a good start.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Shaun is up with California Math, Governor Jerry Brown plus head up ass minus 132 criminals equals utopian dream. Then back to Sackhead Clint for Chinese math. North Korea plus carbon and hydrogen, which is petroleum, by China, plus the U.S. satellite equals ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh.
And then Shaun, by the numbers to close it up, is Trump's year. So this is what we have going on tonight.
We get a lot to go with. So let's do the Common Core Math.
So we'll talk about Common Core Math first by CNN, and this is Nazism plus Trump equals like a Christian utopian dog whistle Merry Christmas 2017. So Don Lemon, who's a CNN host and a jackass, in my opinion.
Don Lemon.
Right?
Jesus.
I love how you
Does that mean it's because he's a sour... What?
Yeah, he's just a dick. Good.
Don... The dickhead Lemon, as I think he's known in some circles, particularly around this studio.
Dick Don. Go on.
Dick Don.
Go on. Dick Don Lemon.
What? What, BZ?
Nothing.
Come on, we have 4 minutes. Let's
Oh,
roll
sorry.
this out.
No, I got nothing. Go
So
ahead.
Don the fuckhead Lemon.
The Dick Don.
Dick Don.
That's I'm back on. I'm back on that.
The Dick Don.
He's back on the dick.
Does he don the dick?
He's don the dick.
He dons the dick.
He dons the dick.
That means he puts the dick
3 minutes.
on, like his face.
3 minutes.
So he dons the dick, Lemon, says that, quote, the term.
The dick lemon?
Merry Christmas. Not the dick lemon.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Says that the phrase Merry Christmas, when Trump uses it, is, quote, this is a quote, this is a dog whistle to the base because no one has ever stopped using Merry Christmas. Wait.
Oh, really?
What?
Really?
This is what the Dick Don said on December 21st, 2017. No one has ever stopped using Merry Christmas. Does anybody wish to fact check that?
No, not even
Does anybody want to fact check the Dick Don?
No. There's no reason to fact check the Dick Don, and here's why. Absolutely has Merry Christmas been destroyed and removed from so many places in this country over the last 9 years specifically.
Well, here's Newsweek. Newsweek had a headline.
Yes.
Quote, how Trump and the Nazis stole Christmas to promote white nationalism.
Please. White nationalism. Okay, I have a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know, the leftist science dude?
Yes.
Okay.
2 minutes.
He wrote in a tweet, Merry Christmas to the world's 2.5 billion Christians and to the remaining 5 billion people, including Muslims, atheists, Hindus, Buddhists, and animists and Jews, happy Monday.
Well, and look, it's kind of funny, actually.
And I wrote to Tyson, I said, hey, does Tyson actually work at being a dick, or does it come naturally?
I actually think that's funny.
So it's funny in a dickhead sort of way, right?
In a dickhead
if
sort
you're
of
going to
way,
be a
yeah.
dickhead, be comical. But here's the thing about that is I don't see anybody, and rightfully so, getting upset over Jewish holidays or Hindu holidays. Or, you know what?
Ramadan.
We celebrate, right? Absolutely Ramadan. In
El
California, the state of California celebrates Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah, they call it, in Mexico, they call it Cinco de Gringo.
Right.
Look, we kicked their ass. Sorry, Mexico. Not really. Fuck you, you lost. So anyways.
You made a bad business deal.
You made a bad, and there's some other folks in this country that did that too. Not our faults. I didn't do it. Our ancestors did it. Your ancestors did it. Fucking move on.
Right.
.org. No, don't go there. So, But first of all, that's actually true, right? If you say Merry Christmas to the Christians and everybody else Happy Monday, that is factually correct. I have absolutely no problem with that.
Right.
What I have a problem with is the fact that Christmas is a federal holiday, and if you don't want to celebrate Christmas, fucking go to work.
Thank you. If you don't believe, if you don't observe these holidays, get your ass fucking to work.
Well,
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you know what's funny?
Go to work.
There's so many, and I know we only get a minute left.
I want to say something before you get on this segment.
No,
I would be okay if every person in America got one religious holiday off a year. If you're a Christian, you get Christmas. If you're Jewish, take one day from Hanukkah, right? If you want to call Kwanzaa your holiday, then pick a fucking day and take that day off.
Yep.
If you want to celebrate Ramadan,
what about Festivus?
Right? Whatever. Right. If you're an atheist
and you want to celebrate
Mother Nature Day,
right?
Then celebrate Mother Nature Day.
Hug a Tree Day.
Something.
Arbor
right?
Day. That would be the perfect day for you to celebrate. Arbor Day.
Get one religious holiday off a year and mark it on your timesheet accordingly.
Yes.
I would be totally okay with that.
There's your 8 hours. Bye.
There's your 8 hours. And now the federal government and the state government will be open.
And we'd never have to hear anyone bitch.
And we'd never have to have anybody bitch. School would be in session all year.
Yes.
You could have a winter break, right? You could have a winter break still.
But that's it.
But
well,
that's
no,
it.
So you'd still have to have the winter break. Most people don't realize that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have a Christmas holiday or vacation.
Right. But they don't already have it. It's called
it's called winter break.
Happy
winter
holidays.
Break.
It's not even Christmas anymore.
Yeah, bullshit. I say Merry Christmas, and I'm making a point. I'm that asshole that when somebody walks down the street and says Happy Holidays, I look at them and I say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Folks, we're up against a break here on the Sackheads Radio Show. When we come back, we have more math brought to you by
I actually
BZ.
researched the term Merry Christmas, and it did not start with Adolf Hitler.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Good evening. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is featured on the SHR Media Network every Tuesday and Thursday night for 2 hours at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. Whilst manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ continues to radically change the world of leftists, one diaper at a time. Stop balancing your checkbooks. Stop cleaning your fish tanks. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show is your magnet for truth, justice, obesity, a darkened studio, and late-night freedom. No United States of America freedoms were abridged in the making of this ad.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians, a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless, hope to the hopeless, clues to the clueless. Sackheads Shaun, Sackheads Clint, and Sackheads BZ. The Sackheads Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern on SHRmedia.com. Watch on YouTube, Facebook, and the High Plains Pundit Network. The best in late-night conservative talk. The Sackheads Radio Show, only on the SHR Media Network.
Go ahead, I'll say it again.
Some of the best A-roll is going to be B-roll.
Like, what are you talking about? Just like the last question we cut a couple seconds. Yeah, I'm a freaking artist. I can't just come up with this shit off the top of my head. Are you freaking kidding me right now?
Hey, good point. Exactly right. Oh,
God. Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's
no surrender ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Sam on SHR Media. You can listen to my new show starting on Tuesdays in January. Get my perspective on national politics, a conservative's perspective on California politics, the latest in the war on terror, all of that and a lot more here on Tuesdays at SHR Media. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Sam_SHR Media.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Hey, this is Sackhead Clint, and I'm with Sackhead Shaun, Sackhead BZ. No communists allowed on the SHR Media Network.
Damn straight, mister.
Back to the show.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. So much to talk about. We're going to get right into the next subject here, and it is over to my good friend BZ for some more math. Hey.
Hey.
Did you get your scientific calculator out?
Yeah.
Shazam!
You look like a professor.
Gomer says hi. Hi, Sergeant.
He died. Somebody told me that.
Yeah, Jim Neighbors died.
I didn't realize that. He died like 2 weeks ago.
Yep. About a month ago.
Didn't know that.
Did you ever, this may seem a silly question, did you ever hear him sing?
Yes, he was actually a tremendous singer.
I heard him sing one day, and I thought, okay, that's not Jim Neighbors.
Yeah. No, he was a very talented singer.
Someone overdubbed Gomer Pyle.
Ridiculously talented man. Mm-hmm. Ridiculously talented.
Holy carp.
Hey, we always go through like some of the old shows that we've watched, and you know what's funny is you can get every episode of Hogan's Heroes on YouTube now.
Yes.
I used to love Hogan's Heroes.
Excellent show. Excellent show.
Hogan!
And
it was great because it makes fun of Nazis.
Yes. And so here's the funniest part is the guy who played Klink, it's Werner Klemperer. Did you know that?
How do I know that crap?
He escaped Nazi Germany as a Jew. His father was a famous conductor, and they escaped in the late 30s. And when they went back to him to ask him if he would play Klink, he was like, yeah, you guys are making fun of the Germans and the Nazis the entire time. Of course I will.
I'm on that all day long.
And he was on that. Yeah, he was really proud of it. He had such a good time with that character. And he was one of those guys, I saw an interview with him on the old Pat Sajak show. And he was saying how that show, he loved being Colonel Klink, and how for years people would walk up to him and say, oh my God, it's Colonel Klink. And he would do the Hogan thing for him and all that stuff. But he kept at the end of the show his monocle. And I was like, everyone kind of takes one thing. He took his monocle and he lost it at some point.
No.
I guess he said whenever he'd go, because he was doing stage afterwards, whenever he'd go set up his dressing room, he'd have all little trinkets from his career there as kind of like good luck charms. And he forgot it or it disappeared or whatever. And I guess Pat Sajak had another one made that was identical to it. And he was really, you could tell like he was really touched by it. But he really embraced our character. He's like, no, I loved the fact that everyone knew me as Colonel Klink. And he said he just had a good time doing it. I just always, stuff like that's always kind of cool to think that that's where he came from. And then he would come back years later.
Freaking Air Corps. I never want to hear about them again, ever.
So that
This is where he's playing the violin.
And one last thing. So it was funny. I was watching Airplane 2 the other night, and the general in that show, who's always like Clink's overseer and always would yell at him, he was kind of a heavyset guy. I forget his name. But as I'm watching Airplane 2, it's all the newscasters when they're talking about the shuttle disaster, and he was the Russian newscaster. Every time they went to him, he had a gun to his head. And in better news, the American space shuttle is doomed to explode. Back to you. Like, I was like, oh, I've never seen that guy in anything else except for that. It just made me laugh.
Well, there were some amazing guys in World War II. Lee Marvin was in World War II.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Jimmy Doohan from Scotty was in World War II. Captain Green Jeans. Captain Kangaroo. Bob Keeshan.
Yes.
Was in World War II. Jimmy Doohan lost a finger in World War II.
Yep.
The guy that played LeBeau was in World War II.
Yep.
And then the guy that played the British guy, Richard
Dawson. Richard Dawson.
Yes.
Dude, James Stewart.
And this guy was in World War II.
And you know who else is in World War II? Well, first of all, people don't realize how many athletes were in World War II. So back in the day, the movie stars would get all the fanfare of it, right? But a lot of famous athletes were in World War II fighting. One of the greatest hitters of all time, Ted Williams.
Yep.
He was in World War II and the Korean War in the Marine Corps as a jet pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually got shot down. Well, he belly landed the craft, but he got shot returning during the Korean War. And he flew both the props of World War II and the early jets of the Korean War. And it's so funny because if you think he missed, I think, a total of 6 years for his military service out of baseball, and like how many people are close to his records now? Imagine if he had those 6 years in his youth, or 4 years. I think it was 4 years.
Well, we forget Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman left NFL football to go fight.
Modern hero, Pat Tillman. Very much so.
Jimmy Stewart.
Yep.
Was a brigadier general.
Yes.
In World War II.
Henry Fonda.
Yes.
Well, so have you guys ever read about any of Jimmy Stewart's stuff? He was in the Air Corps. He was a pilot. That guy, very decorated, won the Distinguished Flying
My dad.
Cross.
Did he really?
My dad.
Oh
met
yeah.
Jimmy
What a great. If you ever have a chance to read about Jimmy Stewart and his World War II and his time he spent in World War II, fascinating story.
I did not know
he
that.
literally put himself on the front lines. He was out there with the guys on the missions. Like, didn't take his fame and try and hide with it or anything. Like, ultra decorated.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
My dad was flying. He flew for the 8th, came back, and met Jimmy Stewart at Mayfair Air Force Base. At the time, that's where you were training for B-25s. That turned into the Navigator School for the U.S. Air Force. And he said he just was knocking back drinks with Jimmy Stewart.
No kidding.
He was that kind of a guy.
That's awesome to hear. I love stories like that. It just makes you kind of like...
Yeah. It's like...
You expect the stars... I mean, look at...
These are guys that were doing what needed to be done when it needed to be done.
Clark
Simple.
Gable.
Yeah.
Clark and Adolf Hitler was a huge Clark Gable fan, and he actually was reported to have offered $5,000 to any soldier who could capture Clark Gable alive and bring him to Hitler.
No kidding.
Yes.
That's amazing. Hey, it's just crazy to think of all the different and other people who've served in the military in one capacity or another through the years. Jimi Hendrix was in the Army. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that.
Elvis Presley
was certainly in the military. The guy who plays Kylo Ren now was a Marine. But back then, I think
Driver? Adam Driver?
Yeah, he was a Marine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. And he actually does a lot of work now with veterans. He does a lot of work in his own time with veterans. He's actually a really interesting guy. I've read a couple articles, and he seems like a pretty decent cat. Well, let's move right along because we got to get to topics, and we always fall behind. And this is some more new math. And BZ, this is your topic. Take it away, my friend.
Well, first, the UN decided that it would be a great idea to spit on the United States. They evidently forgot that Nikki Haley is our U.S. ambassador, and that these days what goes around tends now to come around. And so she called it a step in the right direction, the ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, this past Sunday when she announced absolutely and incredibly historic addition to the budget of the I'm sorry. Did I say addition? My mistake. My bad. I meant a subtraction.
Yeah, no, this is old school math.
Yeah,
The old school
this
math.
is. I meant a subtraction from the U.S. budget of $285 million less going to the UN budget. Now, here's the interesting thingy. The U.S. Pays the freight for 22% of every damn thing
in the UN.
In the UN. So that's one nation pulling the freight for a full fourth of the UN. Plus, there's this. The United States also pays 28% of all peacekeeping efforts around the globe. Let's see. China, being a huge, massive nation, I'm sure they're paying equally as much. Well, maybe not exactly as much, but I'm guessing that China is paying maybe 20% to the UN.
5%, I guess.
No, about 8%.
Wasn't that far off.
Yeah. What a shock.
Well, look at when you look at the pretty consistent, especially since World War II, and we've had our ups and downs, pretty consistent financial earner in the world. It's always been the United States. And we're starting to go back that way again. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But look, I applaud them. And that's step one. You know what? That was like, hey, this is the first time you want to win.
Well, she's got...
There's $289 million gone. Keep going.
Great quotes. The quotes that she had this past week were fabulous. One of them was, the inefficiency and overspending of the United Nations are well known. We will no longer let the generosity of the American people be taken advantage of or remain unchecked. This historic reduction in spending, in addition to many other moves toward a more efficient and accountable UN, is a big step in the right direction. Let's see. Would that have ever occurred under an Obama administration? I think I know the answer to that, but anybody else?
Negative, Ghost Rider. That pattern would be so many levels of full, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Look, here's the reality, and this is why I love this so much. Like I said, that was the first slap in the face of the UN. Fine, this is a major thing with the wall. With Jerusalem. This is huge for us. This is huge for Israel. After everything you've done with them, you're still going to turn your back on them. Fine. $289 million gone from your budget. What's next? Keep going. Keep fucking going.
That's just a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. And watch, though. You watch how many countries start to change now that fist is there.
Well, here's the funny thing. Remember, the UN said, oh, my God, United States, everyone voted against the United States moving the embassy into Jerusalem. From Tel Aviv. Oh, terrible.
Which is not even their fucking business.
Despite the fact that the seat of Israeli power is right there. Yeah. The Knesset is right there. Yes. It makes logic to place the seat of American ambassadorial staffing
absolutely
a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Knesset. But wait. Now that occurred, we've got a couple of other nations that are saying, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we should move our embassies to Jerusalem. That might be a good idea.
Hey guys, how much money do we get from Jerusalem? Oh, okay. How much technology do we buy?
Okay.
Well, maybe we should put our embassy. Look, the Americans have already done it. It's easy now, right? Anyone else? We'll let them be the assholes and let the whole world protest them. How dare you, America? The great white devil. Blah, 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 blah. Do you know who's renting that building next to you guys while you're in Jerusalem? We were thinking about it. And maybe if you cut us a deal or if you know the guy who knows a guy. Look, I've said this before. It's going to change so many opinions of nations. You have those who actually want to be in Jerusalem but didn't want to be the asshole. So, yeah, I've said this before. Let's be the asshole. Who gives a shit what the world thinks? Why do we give a shit?
Well, see, here's the other thing. It's like the Republicans and the Democrats is the same relationship between the United States and the world. Look, the world couldn't give a fuck less what the U.S. does. So the U.S. they're going to hate the U.S. anyway, so we may as well do whatever the hell we want. The Democrats are always going to hate the GOP, and the GOP quakes in fear, so the GOP may as well just do whatever the hell they want to. Because no matter what they do, they could themselves have a cure for cancer.
Yes.
And the response would be, you should have released that cure 5 years ago. Think of all the extra people you could have saved.
There's no right answer anymore, right? From the world's point of view. We're always wrong no matter what we do. It doesn't matter.
Let's save some cash.
Let's just friggin' do it.
By the way, that cash we're saving, that's not DC's cash. That's
Taxpayer
your cash.
Yes.
That's your cash. And that's your cash.
315 million people in this country right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're cutting 289 million. It's a pretty considerable individual. It's less than $1 a person. Okay, I get that. But at the end of the year, you do a couple of those cuts when I'm looking at my tax bill, and I'm like, hey, look what? I saved $500 this year.
Oh, wait. This is great. You're going to love this. I'm watching chat, okay? And Melanie is in chat. And she said, hey, some dude from Africa popped into my inbox last night talking junk on Donald John Trump. And I replied, I'm like, you live in freaking Africa. How's your economy?
Right. Well, and we're
yes.
That's great.
Where in Africa is he? Because it could be worse depending on where he is. What's the country that has a coup going on right now against their dictator who's absolutely out of his fucking mind? These people are going to judge us. I think it's amazing that other countries can look at... look, we have the right to judge some other countries because of what we don't do and what they do perform. Right? These horrible nations where they slaughter their own people or other people. Look at Syria, right? Bashar Assad. He has the right to be judged. But when we're paying for 3/4 of this world to exist...
We're paying for the freight.
Yes.
We're paying
for all of this shit. Who are you to say shit to us?
So here's the thing. Is 285 or... 285 million sounds like a lot of money.
No, that's like a drop of piss from your kidneys,
Yeah,
but it's a statement.
It's a
and it's a
statement.
start.
But for us, it's a drop in the bucket. But for the UN, that's a sizable chunk of change. What's their annual budget?
$6 billion?
$8 billion a year.
$8 billion.
But it's a percentage.
So it's a percentage, right?
Where does that go? Where does $8 billion go?
I want to see Trump say, you know what, we're not funding any of it.
Yeah, why don't we start auditing?
As a matter of fact, we're charging you rent.
Why don't we start auditing the bank accounts of the people that are in charge, like the Secretary General,
right
on down
all
of
the way
the
down.
UN, and see what kind of cash they have. You know, kind of like the PLO and Yasser Arafat, this guy that was wearing piece of crap clothing, and he had numerous homes. His wife was living in Paris, and he was making millions and millions and millions of dollars off the PLO.
Look at Fidel Castro. Look at the Castros. You look at any major dictator, and it's the exact same thing. You can cry poor mouth all you want, but then you go to their palaces. This is Saddam Hussein.
Their people are poor.
Yeah, but they're not.
Absolutely
not.
Right? Look at Mexico, just south of us.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing. Absolutely the same thing. And the parts of that...
I know that's blasphemy in California,
no,
right?
the parts of that country that make money for that country, amazingly,
all the cartels.
is safe.
Melanie was saying he's like, Trump's focused on the wrong problems. Look what happens, or look what's happening in Libya. And Melanie said, she replied, here's an idea. Why doesn't Libya take care of Libya?
Yeah. Yeah, look, if they want to go down, if they want to start judging...
Shocking.
I've said this before, especially with the UN. When they start judging us, don't cash the check. If you hate us that bad, and we're such evil monsters, Israel too. You hate Israel, don't
take our money.
Check.
That's like that to me is like that's like when BZ starts talking shit about us.
Well, that's never
ever
like
happened.
It's like if you would have talked, right?
Okay,
if you ever would have something negative to say, like, but not say it in a polite way,
but didn't value your show. I mean,
right. Wait, what? That's like Omarosa saying a bunch of crap about Trump.
Right.
Now, that would never happen.
Right. After he made her.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, look, I don't care if you have disagreements or not. And you could say, you can say whatever you want, but the reality is you look like an asshole. Yes, you have that absolute right to say whatever you want.
You know what You know what I equate this
but
to?
You look like an asshole.
You know what I equate this to? I equate this to the NFL players that kneel during the anthem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're making a statement against the very thing that is making them what they are.
Well, yes. But thank God you finally said that, because you're stating something that is so obvious that because of its obviosity. See that?
I like that.
New word. I like that, obviosity. In other words,
can we write that down?
They don't. Do they not understand who their audience is? Let's see. Leftists who want to eliminate football because of concussions and because it's violent and men, it's full of testosterone and it's men hitting men and people getting violent. Who supports the NFL? Leftists? No.
Nope.
There's people in the middle to the right,
yes.
who spend money because they don't want to mix their sports with politics, and now sports can go to hell. It's all politics. And you wonder why they're leaving in droves. Like I said last night, 2018 is going to be the year of the NFL, because if they think that it was bad this year, you know what happened this year? Lots of people who spend money on the NFL magically got out of the habit of watching the NFL.
Yes, they did.
And so that will come
one of
back
them.
to roost. I'm one of them, too.
Blow
the NFL.
I
didn't watch one full game this year.
I did not either. Who was the...
I've barely watched highlights.
Who was the owner that just came out? Was it the Baltimore Ravens? Somebody may want to research this because I don't know. There was an owner that came out, I think it was over the course of this last week, and completely just said basically everything the NFL is saying is full of shit as far as viewership, and said there is absolutely a noticeable difference in the stands.
Oh yeah,
it is absolutely hurting the bottom line. Who was that?
The person, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they also said there's a correlation between that and the stands, and the major reason for it is not concussions and blah 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 blah. It's because of the kneeling by the players.
Yes. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I'm trying to think of what team.
And the rest of this stuff was blah blah blah. Rentoon. Well, guess what? You know it's bullshit now, because the numbers for baseball were really good this year, and guess what numbers are also going up?
Hockey,
basketball.
Oh yeah, basketball too.
So, no, then a logically thinking human being has to say, okay, then what's the difference that we can delineate immediately between what's occurring in the NFL, baseball, and basketball? Oh, that's right.
It was the Ravens.
We don't have a mass amount of people kneeling in the games.
So it was the Ravens president, Dick Cass. What a great name.
Dick Cast?
Yep, in a letter to fans that the employees, that the players' one-time protest in London has been a factor. You fucking jackass. It's more than that. So finally you have an owner. He says, we've had significant numbers of no-shows in the past when our play on the field has not met the high standard, but this year has been different. The numbers are higher and it's noticeable. There are a number of reasons for the no-shows, but surely the protest in London has been a factor. So here you have a team that is playing very well in the Baltimore Ravens, and they're noticing an impact in the stands, and the president is saying, hey, yeah, we notice an impact when we play like shit.
Right.
But we notice it now. And he's trying not to split too far from the NFL, because he said, it was with our one-time protest in
He
London.
still has to work.
No, he's the fucking owner.
Yeah, I know, but...
What are they going to do? What's the NFL going to do?
Pull his franchise.
Take his team from him?
You can pull the franchise.
Well, wait a minute. Isn't Colin Kaepernick in concert with some other music rapper dude? Don't they want to buy an NFL team?
Yes, Panthers. P. Diddy.
Okay.
Yeah, P. Diddy. I wonder how Cam Newton feels about that.
I can't
Not
wait
happy
for that
about
to
it.
happen. I can't wait.
Cam Newton was not happy about that. Their
Buy
star
the Panthers.
quarterback.
Hell yes, they should buy the Panthers. Oh, God, yes, they should buy the Panthers.
By the way, you know why they want to buy the Panthers, right? Think about it.
It's a political statement.
It's a political statement.
Of course, it
is a Black Panther that's on their helmet.
It's the name.
100%. 100%.
It's just absolutely insane. And look,
I saw that in an article on. Oh wait, no, I didn't because nobody fucking talked about
it whatsoever. Whatsoever.
How does nobody pick up on this shit?
Except you.
No, they do pick up on it, but they choose not to report it. There's a difference.
I don't even know they pick up on it.
Oh no, they picked up on it. But yeah, when Cam Newton comes out and he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. I hope he doesn't sell the team because I really like playing here. And I
really like playing here, and we're really good, and I really don't want to suck.
It just boggles my mind that Colin Kaepernick went from like a mediocre starting quarterback to wanting to own a team because he can't do shit now and no one will touch him with a 50-foot pole.
Right.
He's like, well, if I'll just buy the team and then play myself.
Oh, Major League 2.
Dorn.
If he does it, that's his nickname.
Absolutely.
Dorn.
Folks, we're up against a break here on the Sackheads Radio
already?
Show. Yeah, when we come back.
Come on, man.
California's got a math problem.
California's got a bigger problem than math.
We're going to work out the numbers right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Stick around.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Shaun from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver Common Sense, and you're listening to SHRmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, the last show before the end of the year, as we're wrapping it all up.
Hey, can I interject something? Because I just thought of it. Carrie Baxter Donovan happens to be in chat right now. And I told her last night, I talked to her and I said, I'm going to tell Shaun what she said about you last night.
Oh, okay.
Because the show last night was entitled Whiskey and Politics. She likes to talk about whiskey. So she came on, we talked about whiskey, and we talked about politics. And she said, quote, I could drink that Shaun under the table any day. And she said, Clint, I'm not so sure about.
See, and it's funny.
So I said, oh, wow, Carrie, that sounds like the gauntlet has been hurled. Yeah. And I said, Carrie, by the way, you do realize that where Shaun is from, right? you realize that Shaun is from Baston, okay? And you do realize that Shaun is Irish. Now, do you see a connection there somewhere? She said, honest to God, boom, I could drink you under the table.
Well, look, many have tried.
Hey.
They're not here to tell their story, though.
You know what? Mostly because when they drank you under the table, you killed them because you didn't like the... let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
Let's get a whole bunch of our fellow broadcasters and just do a drinking festival.
Yes.
And just see who's standing at the end of the table.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, and do the video.
Because I know who it's going to be.
Oh, my God.
You're welcome. Just give it to me now. And that's all right. I'll even warm up for it. I like play with the handicap. I'll come in like 8 shots deep.
That's not a handicap, Shaun. You'd have to come in like 24 shots deep.
Yeah, that's like the putting green. I'm like, I putted a few times. I'm good to go. Let's play. The only person who worries me is, so I know you have your beverages, and I know that you can hang, but the chubby little guy to your left is the sleeper. I think he's the sleeper in the group. I bet you there's so much vodka that goes through that man's body.
Well, I remember when you told me the story about Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I held back here when you told us on the air, but when I got home, I cried.
Well, and then you did some research, right? You went full PI. You were down in Los Angeles for 4 days trying to find the real thief.
I was down there trying to see, is there evidence that they didn't dispose of somewhere?
He's like, no, I'm going to find those bastards, and we're going to bring the vodka home. He had banners up, the little pins.
I got to tell you a quick story because it just came to me. Where I am, way up in the mountains, there's the Union Pacific Railroad.
Yes.
And
well, they're all over the world, not just the mountains or the country.
I know, but the Transcontinental Railroad originally laid down by the Central Pacific, and then the Southern Pacific, now bought by the Union Pacific, is less than a mile. It's probably about a quarter of a mile from my cabin.
Isn't the Central Pacific in the middle of like the Hawaiian Islands?
Right, exactly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In any event,
that would make sense to me.
Going downhill, you know, when you get a truck that loses control, they have these truck turnouts.
The runaway ramps.
The runaway truck ramp. Okay, well, in its infinite wisdom, Caltrans decided to put a runaway truck ramp where the end of the runaway truck ramp is about 15 feet from a hill, and down at the bottom of that is the Union Pacific Railroad tracks.
I love where this is going.
Okay, so
already.
you see where this is going?
Yes.
Okay, one day, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, a truck went through the runaway off-ramp and went out, boom, onto the tracks, whereupon about 2 minutes later, a Union Pacific train smacked the truck. The truck was carrying
vodka.
Lobster.
Oh,
so,
my
do you
God.
think that all the people up where I was, when some of the people found out, all of a sudden everybody's going, ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I know we can get some free lobster.
Everyone come up, we're going lobster
that
hunting.
crap got picked clean.
You know what? You know what kills me, though, is I just look at it from the perspective of the lobster. Right? You get dragged out of the ocean, you're thrown in a water tank in a truck. All of a sudden, you're going 85 miles an hour out of control. There's no gravity for a few seconds, and now you're in the middle of the fucking woods. Like,
this little lobster's going,
fuck?
Lobster's going, I get a great visual out of that. Okay, back to the show.
I just picture like the claws going.
Well, hang on a second. What if it's West Coast lobster?
Oh, no claws.
No claws.
Right.
See, you just let your. We don't need them.
Exactly. So anyhow,
it's because there's no violence. Right. We even fucking disarm the fish out here. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that's the Pacific Californian toothless shark.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we crossbred it specifically so it wouldn't have teeth and be violent.
Yeah, so...
But son of a bitch, they'll gum you to death.
We prohibit our marine life from arming themselves. Yeah, look, we don't allow those assault claws on our lobsters over here. Fucking California. It freaking figures.
Yeah, Simone in chat says lobsterists.
Lobsterists?
Racists, sexists.
Lobsterists.
That's not easy to say.
Lobsterists.
So if self-defense is a natural right.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And it's natural law. And it applies to humans. And to follow leftist theology, leftist ideology, what applies to humans also applies to animals. Then aren't the clawless lobsters an abomination? And shouldn't they all be exterminated?
How do you fucking do this?
What?
What is wrong with your
It's
brain?
leftist. It's leftist
What is
thought.
wrong with your brain?
But then that's in direct conflict to the whole PETA mantra of save all the animals.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do they reconcile that?
Well, Simone in chat says that left coast lobsters. Wouldn't it be true that they would only have left claws?
No, they're
Or would
pacifists. But if they're pacifists and they've been disarmed or declawed, then obviously they don't have the right to self-defense, because how else do they defend themselves? In which case God has forsaken them. But we don't believe in God because we're leftists. Holy shit, my head's going to explode.
Wait a minute. Doesn't that mean there has to be a lobster government? Because the lobster government would have to take care of the declawed lobsters.
No, there doesn't have to be a lobster government because
deep under the Pacific,
BZ,
deep
you're missing
under
the point.
sea, there has to be a lobster government.
Absolutely not, because lobsters are animals that have the same rights as people, which already has a government, and PETA needs to be in charge of that all. Fuck, follow the logic.
Okay,
Jesus
so
Christ.
basically what you're saying then is that any lobsters that are
Shaun,
near the
explain
left
it to
coast,
him.
they are answerable to Jerry Brown.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
The big question I have is, do they recognize that fact?
Well, listen, out of the 132
And the other thing
criminals
is when
who
you
were
feed-
pardoned,
when you feed lobsters
I think 4 of them
free
were lobsters.
cheese, because you have to give lobsters welfare, the immediate question
What you
would
doing,
be,
Shaun?
in what form does lobster welfare take? What do lobsters eat? Do you have to give them, I don't know, like snails or something? What do lobsters eat? I really don't know. But whatever lobsters eat, that's what Jerry Brown must be providing to them.
Yes.
So I really don't know. I have no idea what lobsters
yes, well, Jerry
eat.
Brown would love to provide it to them, but because we have no more crops in California because of the fucked up water policy, the lobsters are actually, I think, going extinct because even though they live in the ocean, we have no water. We don't want to get their ocean water and desalinate it because then we're fucking with their environment. It's just a whole mess.
I see what you're saying. In California, on the
This
land,
all
we have
started
no
with the
water,
drinking challenge.
but some food. In the lobster land, they have lots of water, but no food.
Right.
See what it's a 180 reversal.
But it makes complete sense in the halls of Sacramento.
Now, how do we marry the two so that we have some people have water
This started
and some people have food, and then we have more
from a
people
drinking
having
challenge.
food and water, but it all has to be
BZ.
free. It all has to be
BZ.
free.
Coexist, brother. Coexist. Back to you, Shaun.
Back to you, Shaun.
Oh, can I play now? This is awesome.
You could have played the whole
I just
time.
paid all my bills for the week. I was busy. Thanks, guys. Let me put my headphones back on. I was distracted. It started with the drinking challenge 12 minutes ago.
That reminds me of lobsters.
How the do you sleep at night? Do you just wake up randomly saying shit at like 3 o'clock in the morning? Like,
hang on a second.
Oh, but if the leftists own the trash company, then the raccoons would directly be affected by the leftist ideology of trash hoarding.
Here's
and therefore,
the fuck-
they're not distributing it evenly upon the raccoons.
Here's the fucked up thing. Every leftist understood exactly what the hell I was talking about.
They were all on board.
You know, that's absolutely true.
They were like, Clint finally came around the corner.
Yes. Yes, the ambulance chasing hack right now is putting money in my account and funding a new political party.
Simone has another question, and maybe the two of you can answer her. She says, by the way, does that mean that left coast lobsters can identify as Maine lobsters?
No, because Maine lobsters are evil, neo-Nazi, weapon-wielding bigots.
Wait.
So they are specifically prohibited from identifying as East Coast lobsters because we don't have racist, bigoted lobsters on this coast.
Wait, would it be different if they were Massachusetts lobsters? Would that be different then?
Yes, because they can identify as West Coast lobsters, but not vice versa.
Okay. All right. Anyway, Simone, you had the question, so I had Sackhead Shaun and Sackhead's Clint provide you with the answer right there.
So Governor Jerry Brown. Jesus.
Yes, my son.
I don't even know. Quiet, Santa. Governor Jerry Brown.
That's not funny.
Just before Christmas, provided pardons to 132 criminals and commuted 19 sentences.
So what's the mathematical equation for California math?
Utopian dream, baby.
Governor Jerry Brown plus head up ass minus 132 criminals equals?
Utopian dream.
Utopian dream.
You compare that to Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who granted just 15 pardons during his entire time in office. Previous to him, Governor Gray Davis granted 1.
Mm-hmm.
This puts Jerry Brown has pardoned more than 1,000 people so far in his third term since 2011.
Because we don't have enough criminals free on the streets in this state.
Yeah. And the funny part is you'd think, like, we talked about this before, he'd be pardoning. You brought up a great point, like a guy who killed the child molester of their child in a rage of passion, right?
Yes.
Or even the wife that maybe kills her abusive husband in a rage of self-defense, or that should have been self-defense, but it wasn't because it's California. So, she still got charged, convicted of a felony, but you cut her loose because it's like, no, she should have killed him. The guy was beating the shit out of her, and we live in commie.
Or the guy that gets never had a criminal act in his life, but gets caught with a banned weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because you live in California, and,
And you moved in from out of state, and you just didn't fucking know.
You drove here from Nevada, and you didn't realize it was a banned weapon.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, now you're looking at 5 years for a banned weapon.
Yep.
But luckily, gang members are being paid not to be gang members. So
in Sacramento. True story, folks.
God,
$1,000 each.
$1,000 each. So naturally, the news is pushing out all of these different things of, like, the person who was caught in this legal back and forth with appeals courts who's done 33 years behind for this or that. They're really playing up like maybe the couple people who got caught into some sort of questionable legal bind, and their life has been very, very difficult. Said it before, our criminal justice system is not perfect, but it is the best one out there. And yes, DNA now is clearing people of things that they've done 33 years ago. It's an amazing technology, which always brings me around to the death penalty. Hey, look, if we use DNA to convict you, you get one appeal, and then you go to the chair. Game over. No 58 appeals, no nothing. DNA, which has cleared all of these people and is very, very convincing and damning evidence, if it's there, you get your one, and you're done. Literally, the day the appeal's over, we walk you out the back door, firing squad, wait, and have a nice day.
I would even say you get your federal appeals and then the Supreme Court if they want.
Okay.
I'll give them that.
Okay. All right. I will. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. Give them that. 3-4 years. All right. Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, fine. But you look at...
Because talking about making the victims' families even go through it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm okay if the victim's family comes out and says, hey, you know what? We don't believe in the death penalty. We don't want to see our so-and-so, our, name the relative, we don't want to see their killer be put to death.
That's theirs to say.
That is theirs to say.
Yeah.
And I 100% believe that. I think it's important for society to make a statement in terms of what will and will not be tolerated. But in a situation like that, where the victim's family, look, they're allowed to make statements in court, that's a big deal. Conversely, if the victim's family stands up and says, that guy's a piece of shit, and I want this person to pay with their life, I think that needs to carry weight as well.
Well, but now you go back to the argument, right? You're talking about the victim's family, but these crimes are usually the state represented against the accused.
Correct.
And they're not crimes individual to that person who is committed, the crime was committed against. So you also have to keep that state separation of no, this is just our standard for this.
No, we have a standard for this, but I'm saying in terms of when it comes time for sentencing, for the penalty phase, right? If the jury comes back and says, death penalty or life in prison without parole, I think if a jury hands down a death sentence and a family stands up and says, Your Honor, we really do not want to see this man put to death, it would not ease our pain. That would never be my statement, by the way. But I'm saying if a family had to say this, I would support a judge that sets that aside, as opposed to the opposite, right? Where a jury hands down a death sentence, the family says, yeah, absolutely, thank you for that, and a judge says, well, I'm not really sure.
So
and now we drag out appeals for the next 30 fucking years.
So you could say punishable by death with the caveat of victim's wishes.
Yeah.
Victim of the family, hey, this is punishable by death, but if the victim family comes out and says they want you to rot in jail, then you rot in jail.
Right.
But on that same token, you have some victims' families coming out and saying, we don't think they should do any time because I forgive them because...
No, that's different because society still has a standard. I'm talking death penalty
but society decides that too.
They do. But when you're talking about taking another life, even if it's a death penalty case, I think the victim's family, I'm not talking about life in prison.
No,
and look, I am a proponent of the death penalty.
Hell yeah.
I want to be 100% clear on that.
I'm all for speeding it up.
I am also. And California voters did that.
Right.
We're still not seeing the effects of that.
But now we can't get the medicine to do it.
Right.
We can't get
That's
the
cool.
medicine.
We have fucking electricity.
Church lady. Isn't that convenient?
Well, yeah.
We have electricity.
Electricity in my ass, firing squad.
Yeah. We have bullets.
Yeah.
Lead-free even.
$1.15, I can solve this problem.
Totally humane.
$1.15. And you know what you do? You make it a family show, folks. You have that guy who's done well his whole life, and he gets stuck with the big C, and now he's starting to go down, and he wants to do one last good thing for society. Put him in the chair. Give him the rifle. Let's have some fun, boys. We'll get 10 of them out there. We don't know whose gun has it and whose doesn't. But you're all part of contributing to society. It's voluntary. You want to sign up and be on the firing squad? All right. All you need is a legitimate reason. Yeah, I'm dying of cancer.
That's a catchy title for a show, too. Firing Squad.
Firing Squad.
Short, snappy.
You know what? And it's a shooting
title.
competition show. And the winner gets to smoke the dirtbag.
First, let's see if you can kneecap him. Melanie in chat says, don't forget you also get time for calling transgenders the wrong pronoun.
Oh, God. That's also a felony now in California, I think. Or it's almost a felony.
Misdemeanor. It's practically a felony.
Yeah, but I think if you get 5 of them, it's a felony.
Simone says also, well, why do we bother with birth certificates? If you get to choose who you identify as, why not just wait until the age of consent?
Oh, funny you mentioned that. California is actually talking about doing away with the sex of a child on the birth certificate, as well as on driver's license.
They're not talking about it for the birth certificate. It's already done. You don't have to fill that in now.
You don't have to.
No, that's what I mean. You don't have to choose.
Yeah. Why the fuck would...
Why is there
the baby has a penis or not?
Yeah, we're not...
Are you sure that's not like an overgrown clitoris? How do you know for sure?
Shouldn't that be the doctor filling that part out because he's the science expert there?
Yes.
No. See, that's where you're wrong. Science is fungible. It's flexible.
No, it's not. So how is it they claim science, all like Big Bang Theory and all, but yet when it comes to the science is conclusive. The science is conclusive whether you're a fucking male or a female.
Listen,
also,
every time somebody brings up science, I always bring up eggs. Like, look, we can have this argument. We talk about how great science is. Tell me how many times eggs went from being bad for you to being good for you to only part of it's good to not all of it's good, but you can have this and you can have that. At least 15 times since I've been fucking alive, you can't say anything's conclusive. The Ice Age.
I can say a male or a female's conclusive.
Well, yes, because that's already been done at that point, right? You're born, boom, junk, no junk. It's pretty easy.
Right.
Sometimes they have both. All right, mark both. I don't care. BZ, you remember the late 70s when they were talking about the Ice Age that was impending?
Yes.
It's going to happen. Newsweek, the cover of fucking Newsweek. All hail the Ice Age. What have we done to anger the earth?
If you look at some of the climate change things now people are starting to say, I think we're going back into another little ice age.
Yes. Well, it's
but
only
all the
a wee one.
leftists are saying the science is... Wait a minute. If the science is absolutely immutable
Yes.
in climate change,
Yes.
why is the science not absolutely immutable in terms of gender?
Well, because it's how you
That's
feel.
just a question.
It's just how you feel.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
Gender is not a feeling.
Look at when that child is born, it can immediately look at the doctor and go, "Hey, doc, mark me down as a boy." But you have breasts and a vagina. Mark me down as a boy. All right, fine. You know what? That one gets it because he made that decision when he came out. Okay. As soon as there is a baby born that will say that to the doctor, you fucking let me know.
Melanie in chat says, what if there's a dick?
What if there is a dick?
What if there's a dick? And then she responds to herself and says, then it's a boy, you jackasses.
I don't understand the confusion in this.
There's no confusion.
No,
science is it's flexible.
I just
unless it's climate change,
and
then
leave it to
science
the
is not
state of fucking
flexible.
California to be like, yeah, you could, you don't have to put the birth certificate to. What?
What do leftists and socialists hate? Don't they hate class society?
Yes.
Society with classes?
Yes.
Which is why they've divided us into classes so much,
Yes.
so we'd fight each other in society.
What I want to know is what's it say about the parents when you have a kid at 6 years old who says, "Oh, I identify as a fill in the sex."
Anything that it's not.
What the fuck?
By the way, you do realize that we have, to my knowledge, we already have our first child who was, whoever you found a doctor to do this to your child, you should be shot. But a child who was given a sex transformation and then decided a year later they wanted to go back to
they
the
were
original
like 12
sex.
or 13, and then a year later they're like, oh, no, wait a minute, I like being a boy again.
So if you think that an adult is conflicted in their 20s and 30s about something like that, you don't think that a child could be equally or more conflicted?
Right.
You fucking morons.
Right.
Well, I was talking about classes, and you brought it up, and you brought it up. Well, Governor Brown just said, bing, you're all exonerated.
Yeah.
He just made a new class.
Right.
And what he's saying is that illegals are, you're here in California, illegals are here above you because now they have more rights than you do.
Absolutely. It's
Non-Americans have more rights than you do.
It's absolutely bizarre to me, though. You get into that whole conversation. You're like, to say, look, when a kid turns 18 and they're like, I want to get a sex change, awesome. That's up to you. I don't give a shit. The prison shouldn't pay for it. The military shouldn't pay for it. Something you
Government should not pay for
right.
it.
No
health
government
insurance
dollars.
should not pay for it.
I don't care if a health insurance company wants to come out specializing
I do.
in
My
that.
fucking premiums
But
go up.
Then you don't have to go with that company.
True.
You don't have to go with that company.
But don't mandate that they
No,
cover
no,
it.
you don't mandate it. It's an elective. That's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's an elective, but no government dollars whatsoever should go to addictomies or take them off of mace.
I agree.
It absolutely should not happen. But at the age of 18, if you decide you want that to happen, hey, you mutilate your body. Tattoos, huge gauging, noses, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not for me to decide.
I agree.
Now, when your child is 14 and says, I think I'm a girl, you have a serious conversation of, listen, at the age of 18, you move out of my home. But until the age of 18, you were born a boy, and you're going to act like a boy. And I know that's, oh, how can you say that? That poor child's going to live in hell and blah, 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 blah. This, that, and the other thing. Sorry, but overall, society has shown us that boys act like boys and girls act like girls.
Yep.
We have a science that says you have a penis, you don't have a penis. Now, if you want to act like
we are chemically different.
Yes. Yes.
But wait, aren't
There's a
leftists-
reason shit's pH balanced for women.
Aren't leftists gender branding themselves anyway? Because when you see Race for the Cure, breast cancer, etc., it's associated with what?
Women.
Pink.
Yeah.
Now, labeling women with a color is gender branding, is it not?
Well, I get pissed when testicular
how
cancer
can
is only
they
blue.
do that?
Right.
Yeah, why do balls have to be blue?
Right. That is not inclusive to women who may have testicular cancer.
And it's not nice.
You
Is
can
that
only-
some kind of backhanded feminist slap at men?
Yes.
To say testicular cancer is blue, therefore guys should have blue balls because women actually control whether that happens or not?
Hey, Major League Baseball. when you guys do your colon cancer awareness week and all the umpires and everything wear blue, that's sexist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
If it's colon cancer, it should be brown.
Right.
Here's an article about Canada. New law allows government to take children away if parents don't accept their kids' gender identity.
No, that's happening in California.
That
Senator
is happening
Pan,
in Ontario, Canada.
Senator Pan in California is trying to pass a law where the state...
SB 12?
I think that's the one. We actually talked about it here before, right? Where the state
can take the child away.
And knows more about your child and how to take care of it than you do as a parent.
And folks, that is all the insanity out of California for this past month and year.
That's all we can tolerate.
That's all we can tolerate. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go by the number. Well, we're going to do a little bit
Chinese math.
We're going to do some Chinese math. And then we're going to go by the numbers about Trump's accomplishments through the first full year of the presidency. All that and more right here on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Please stick around.
Done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Shaun from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Reaver Common Sense Show hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else. So consider this your fair warning.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Hello, I'm Tim Hart. I'm the guy BZ hires due to his shameless contract with the SHR Media Network to voice his promos. He'd like me to tell you that the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be found on SHR Media Network, Spreaker, and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American media maggots won't. You'll find that the speech is free, but the drinks are not. There, in the saloon, just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, BZ is sending his personal drones of freedom into the wheelhouses and ossicles of lovers of sovereignty and liberty nationally and globally. Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, BZ swears that no rights were harmed in the making of this promo.
This is Jersey Joe, host of the Reverb Common Sense, and you're listening to SHRmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your asa...
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, the last show before the end of the year. It is the big one, folks.
Very quickly, I found that one article that I was telling people about, and it's from the Independent of the UK. 12-year-old boy who transitioned to female changes his mind 2 years later. They're starting children now on puberty blockers as young as 4. Thank you, leftists.
It is just absolutely fucking insane to me. Sorry, Clint.
It's absolutely sickening.
Yeah,
those should be rung up on charges.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's child abuse.
Absolutely.
Well,
the parents and the fucking doctor.
It's what you said. It's happening right here in California. Don't doubt that it's happening right here. And like you said, that dude wants to start it.
Yes, Pam.
Right here.
You're
Senator
blocking
Pam.
the natural progression of the human body in order
Yes.
to achieve. That is, to me, like some
You know
sort
what
of sick.
It sounds like some sick Nazi experiment,
Yes,
does it not?
I agree.
It really does. Like, all jokes aside, it
Let's
sounds
see.
like it sounds like what the fucking Nazis would do to some Jewish children.
Damn, you make a good point, but think about it in this term. Also, if it weren't the idea of leftists to do this, can you imagine what people on the left would be saying if people on the right were advocating for that?
Yes.
They would, in fact, call them Nazis and buildings would burn.
You know what? And rightfully so.
It's just...
And look, and rightfully so. If the right were putting forth policies like that, the left should call them out
Absolutely.
as Nazis, and buildings should burn.
I agree.
Figuratively, not literally.
Right.
So, look, the left is exactly what they accuse the right of being. Look at Planned Parenthood. Look at abortions.
And worse.
Look at Margaret Sanger. It is a fucking eugenics project.
It's
the Nazi Party patterned a lot of what they were doing
off of Sanger,
off of Margaret Sanger, and off of Goebbels, and what Goebbels did with propaganda under Woodrow Wilson and Bernays and all those people. And now you look at what the left is doing in terms of, you're talking about making people what they naturally aren't. It's some kind of weird social experiment to do what? Is it to bring about the decline of the white male? Because if you read what leftists
don't just stop there. Throw in Western civilization while you're at it.
So hang on a second. If it is to bring about the downfall of Western civilization, or the Caucasian race, or the white devil, is this not genocide?
You could also say that it's the beginning of a pogrom itself.
Right? Is it some sort of...
I gotta Google pogrom.
Is it some sort of genocide?
P-O-G-R-O-M.
Is it a sexicide?
Yes.
Right? Because you are talking about getting rid of...
It's okay.
If you're talking... But it's not okay. You're talking about getting rid of...
You're an evil
male...
Caucasoid. You need to be... Eminem.
You're talking
Eminem
about...
said he's ashamed to be a white.
You're talking
Note
about...
to Eminem. Okay, take your car, floor it 70 miles an hour off a cliff at 120 into the Pacific Ocean.
If you don't like
first,
it, change
dude.
it. If you don't like
first.
it, change it. Clint?
You're talking about getting rid of all sexes, right? There's no male, there's no female, there's no...
Well, science is
It
fluctuous.
is...
It's
yeah,
fluctuous.
fucking bullshit. It is sexist. It is sexicide. It is a killing off of the sex. And as a result of that, what's going to happen? I mean, how is the human race going to continue? And I know I'm taking it to the extreme, but folks, how do major changes happen?
That's what humans do.
They start.
They push to the extreme.
Yes, they do. But it starts incremental, right? It starts incremental. If we were having this conversation 15 years ago, people would think you lost your damn mind.
Oh, if we went back in time and told them what was up, oh yeah.
Well,
people would think you lost your mind.
Every day, I'm glad that my grandparents died when they did, because today they would not begin to understand this state and this country. They could not see, they could not remotely understand what happened to their country.
Yeah, but that's what the leftists want.
Yes,
That's exactly what the leftists
It's like
want.
Woodrow Wilson said, right? Our goal is to make men as unlike their fathers as we
possible.
possibly can. Woodrow Wilson was an evil motherfucker, and if you ever have a chance to really study Woodrow Wilson and the shit he did,
Yep.
and
6 Minute Men,
and what the country is, and the whole progressive
Bernays.
movement, it started with Woodrow Wilson. That whole progressive movement. You look at why we have the direct election of senators now, and why there is no state
19.
representation at the federal level. Why we have an income tax. Why we study the Woodrow Wilson presidency. Actually, study Woodrow Wilson. Period. And do it from the perspective of not Howard Zinn's perspective, but do it from an independent perspective. Read both sides, but really take a look at his writings, take a look at his speeches, take a look at his time at, I think it was Princeton University, his view on case law versus constitutional law as a basis of study. And he is a scary motherfucker, and he did a lot of damage to this country. Now, real quick, because I know we only have 21 minutes left. And there's Trump by the numbers could take a little bit of time. So real quick, Chinese math.
Yes.
North Korea plus carbon and hydrogen, petroleum, supplied by China, plus a U.S. satellite equals ruh-roh. The freaking Chinese have been caught on U.S. spy satellites.
This is weird.
Transferring oil to North Korean ships.
They said they wouldn't.
Approximately 30 times since October.
Wait.
The UN said no more energy for North Korea in September.
And coal is going to China. North Korean coal.
Yes.
Wait, that's weird because they weren't supposed to trade with them.
Yeah.
No,
isn't
they're
that
not.
odd? Because
They're not.
Didn't China say, no, we're not doing anything with North Korea. Not anymore.
If
Yes.
only
No more.
there was
No more.
a body in place who was supposed to help mitigate things like this and keep it from happening.
Look, it is the United Nations, but obviously North Korea is funding the United Nations.
Obviously.
Oh, wait, no, that's us.
Ooh, wait a minute. You know, it's kind of funny, and this is how I sum up the United Nations really quick. If I say I'm going to take everyone out to dinner, but I can tell you, Clint, I'm paying for it, so you can only have the chicken or the fish. BZ, you can only have the prime rib of the pork, etc., etc. And then you go off the menu, I can turn around and go, hey, I'm not paying for you guys anymore. Right? That's not what we agreed upon.
Right.
I'm just going to walk away.
Right.
Because you guys went way off the chain. That's my prerogative when I'm paying for everything.
Yes.
So
I want the prime rib.
Good man. Good man.
Okay.
UN Security Council resolutions, downgrade diplomatic relations with the regime, and sever all ties of trade and technology.
Just last month, President Trump made an unprecedented...
Yeah. But yet, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to China now? Shouldn't there be some sort of pushback against China? Shouldn't China?
There should be.
Shouldn't China be getting sanctioned now?
They should be. But how are you going to? They're on the Security Council. So how are you going to sanction them?
China for building a fucking island in the middle of the South China Sea. Obama said, "Oh,
It's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay." Hey, look, they need somewhere to land planes. It's not like they have
Yeah,
a
it
massive
needs to be,
land to do it on their own
listen,
land.
They need strategic airfields.
Right.
Come on.
They only have an aircraft carrier now. What are we worried about, guys?
It's just one.
So China's feeling, and this tells you too economically where China is, right? Because they have to buy coal from North Korea.
They could buy it from us.
They could, but they can't afford the prices. That tells you where that is. They have the oil. They don't have the coal. They need the coal to do a lot more. The oil runs all their machinery, yeah, but the coal is involved in electricity.
China better be very careful because
They
if
can't have coal. That doesn't burn cleanly.
you know what, they've been so naughty, Santa Claus deliver a whole bunch of fucking coal to them bastards.
Yeah, they won't ever have to buy it again.
They won't ever have to buy it again. Look, so this is why China is so China has to be very freaking careful about getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar, in the fortune cookie jar. See what I did there? Because
Well, let's open mine up. Oh, man who's stand on toilet high on pot. Okay.
Man with hole in pocket, feel cocky.
Okay, Urban Dictionary, raincoater, one with rather extreme sexual tastes. The origin is from a dirty old man who wear large trench coats with nothing underneath to adult theaters.
Bill Clinton.
The idea that they can discreetly play with themselves during the movie. Something suitable for a raincoater is something suitable for raincoaters.
Okay. Come on.
So, China has to be very careful here because they're trying to meet their energy interest and kind of sanction North Korea, but not really because they need them for coal. If China pisses us off too much, we're just going to say, fuck it, we're going to war. We're going to take out North Korea. We're going to unite the Korean Peninsula.
This right now. We'll end it right now.
Yeah, and China's going to have a choice to make. They're either going to buy coal from us or they're going to back North Korea.
Yes.
Which is a problem either way.
Right.
For them. So they need to be careful. Trump by the numbers.
Let's go to Trump by the numbers because this is such a great topic. So everyone's talking about, Trump hasn't done shit and he doesn't do that, blah, 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 blah. There's a great article out right now that I'm pulling up eventually. Hold on.
Are you going to Washington Examiner? That's where I found it.
That's where I'm going.
Okay, Google Washington Examiner year one list.
Wait, I got it. Haha.
81 major Trump
things.
Yep, there you go.
81 major Trump achievements in the first year. 11 Obama legacy items repealed. The article was written on the 21st of December. Let's start with the easy one, jobs and economy. Passage of the tax reform bill providing 5.5 in cuts, 5.5 billion that is, and repealing the mandate by Obama. Increased the GDP by 3%. Creation of 1.7 new jobs, cutting unemployment to 4.1%. Dow Jones record high. Rebound in economic confidence in a 17-year high. New executive order to boost apprenticeships. A move to boost computer sciences and education department programs. The most that will be underreported forever. Prioritizing women-owned businesses for some $500 million in SBA loans. That will never, ever, ever make a headline. Trump hates women, and Trump hates women, and Trump hates women.
Well, check this out. You know, remember the tax cuts. Oh, the tax cuts are evil. They're evil. AT&T plans to increase U.S. capital spending $1 billion with a B dollars, provide $1,000 special bonuses to more than 200,000 U.S. employees, and that's because of the tax cuts. But wait, Fifth Third Bancorp, a regional bank based in Cincinnati, says it's going to raise the minimum wage for all its nearly 3,000 hourly employees to $15 an hour and would distribute a one-time bonus of $1,000 for more than 13,500 employees by the end of the year. Wells Fargo says it's going to match that $15 an hour minimum wage to its employers from $13.50. That goes into in place in March. Boeing said it's going to go forward with $300 million in investments as a result of the new tax law, $100 million in employee training, and $100 million to enhance Boeing facilities. Media and cable companies Comcast said they would award special $1,000 bonuses to more than 100,000 eligible employees and spend more than $50 billion over the next 5 years. Thank you for the repeal of the net neutrality law, because otherwise there's no incentive under net neutrality to improve. That's just with that one law. Please continue.
Well, so here's the kind of funny part about that. That sounds like a weird stimulus package, only instead of just like giving money to people, it's actually stimulating the economy long term. Anyhow, let's get down to killing the job stifling regulations. Also on the same sort of genre. Signed an executive order demanding 2 regulations be killed for every one created. Signed 15 congressional regulatory cuts. Withdrew from the Obama-era Paris Climate Agreement, ending the threat of environmental regs. Signed an executive order cutting time for infrastructure permit approvals. Eliminated an Obama rule on streams that Trump gets unfairly targeted to the coal industry. That was the Water Act. Wherever the water goes, the EPA has rights to, and he got rid of that.
Yep.
Making private property
That was like
private
pools.
again.
You could have a pool in your own property,
Yes.
and if it collects
any sort of water,
then the federal government now has say over what happens in your
Basically, if it rains in your pool.
In Marin County, California,
Yes.
it is illegal to collect rainwater.
Yes.
It belongs to the county of Marin. What the fuck?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you think that's OBZ, your tinfoil hat is showing,
Oh, no. Look it up.
go to your favorite search engine and
it's
check.
there. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about fair trade.
Jesus.
He made good in his campaign promise to withdraw from
Rainwater from the
TPP.
clouds belongs to the county.
Opened up North American Free Trade Agreement for talks with better deals for the U.S. Worked to bring companies back to the U.S.
Hang on 1 second, Sean. I'm sorry. Just pause for 1 second. If I lived in Marin County, I would set up big buckets.
I'd be the
I
biggest-
would set up big buckets. I would collect rainwater. I would take it down to the county office, and I'd dump it on their floor and be like, "This belongs to you. I'm just returning it."
No, you know what? If I was in Marin County, the perimeter of my yard would be lined with open rain barrels in the winter to collect as much as possible. It would be rain barrel after rain barrel after rain barrel after
Just like a bad show, right? Where it's just circles all the way down to the side of your house.
But then I'd walk it right into the
I
county
like your
office.
idea. I
Yeah.
love
Wait,
your idea.
and then I would sell it
I'm returning this
to one of the pool
Yeah,
companies.
This belongs to you.
You know, I would sell all that water, BZ, to a pool company. You know, how you have those companies that go out and will fill your pool.
Yeah.
I'd sell it to one of those companies. Here you go.
How come nobody sued the county over this?
It's staggering.
Moving
How
on.
ridiculous
Sorry.
this state is.
Work to bring companies back to the U.S. and companies like Toyota, Mazda, Broadcom Limited,
Train.
and Foxconn announced plans to open U.S. plants. Work to promote the sale of U.S. products abroad. Made enforcement of U.S. trade law, especially those that involve national security, a priority. Ends Obama's dealings with Cuba. Boosting our energy dominance, all under the Trump administration. Department of Interior, which has led the way in cutting regulations, opened plans to lease 77 million acres of the Gulf of Mexico for oil and gas drilling. Trump traveled the world to promote the sale of U.S. energy, expanded energy infrastructure projects like Keystone Pipeline, which was snubbed by the Obama administration, ordered the Environmental Protection Agency to kill Obama's Clean Power Plan. EPA is reconsidering rule on Obama rules on methane. Now let's go to protecting the homeland. Folks, this is all in the first year. Laid out new principles for reforming immigration, announced plan to end chain migration, made progress to build a border wall, ended Obama-era catch and release of illegal immigrants, boosted the arrest of illegal immigrants inside the U.S., doubled the number of counties participating in the ICE with immigration and deporting illegals, removed 36% more criminal gang members than in fiscal 2016, started the end of the Deferred Action or DACA, for Childhood Arrival Program, ditto for the amnesty program like Deferred Action of Parents, cracking down on 300 sanctuary cities to defy ICE, adding 100 new immigration judges. Community protection. Holy cow, I need a drink. Justice Department announced grants of $98 million to fund 802 cops. Justice worked with Central American nations to arrest and charge 4,000 MS-13 members. Homeland rounded up nearly 800 MS-13 members, an 83% one-year increase. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Signed 3 executive orders aimed at cracking down on international crime. Jeff Sessions created a new national public safety partnership, a cooperative initiative with cities to reduce violent crime. Accountability. Trump has nominated 73 federal judges and 1 Gorsuch, ordered ethical standards, including a lobby ban, called for a comprehensive plan to reorganize the executive branch, ordered to overhaul and modernize the digital government, called for a full audit of the Pentagon. Here we go. Combating opioids. Declared national public health emergency on opioids. Council and economic advisors played a role in determining that overdoses are underreported by as much as 24%. Department of Health and Human Services laid out a 5-point strategy to fight the crisis. Justice Department announced that it was scheduling fentanyl substances as a drug class under the Controlled Substance Act. Justice started a fraud crackdown, arresting more than 400. Administration added $500 million to fight the national crisis. National Drug Take-Back Day collected 456 tons of narcotics. Protecting life. First week, Trump expanded the Mexico City policy that blocked some $9 billion in foreign aid being used for abortions. Worked with Congress on a bill overturning an Obama regulation that blocked states from defunding abortion providers. Published guidance to block Obamacare money from supporting abortions. Helping veterans. Signed the Veterans Accountability and Whistleblower Protection Act to allow senior officials in the Department of Veteran Affairs to fire failing employees and establish safeguards.
Huge.
Signed the Veterans Appeal Improvement and Modernization Act. Signed the Harry W. Colomery Veterans Education Assistance Act. Signed a VA Choice and Quality Employment Act of 2017, authorized $2.1 billion in additional funds for Veterans Choice programs. Created a VA hotline. Had the VA launch an online access and quality tool, providing veterans with a way to access wait time and quality of care. VA Secretary David Shulkin announced 3 initiatives to expand access to health care for vets. Promoting peace through strength. Directed the rebuilding of the military and ordered a new national strategy of nuclear posture review. Worked to increase defense spending. Empowered military leaders to seize the initiative and win, reducing the need for White House to sign off on every mission. Directed the revival of the National Space Council to develop space war strategies. Elevated U.S. Cyber Command to major warfighting. Withdrew the UN Global Compact on Migration, which Trump saw as a threat to our borders. Imposed a travel ban on nations that lack border and anti-terrorism security, saw ISIS lose virtually all of its territory, pushed for strong action against global outlaw North Korea and its development of nuclear weapons, announced a new Afghanistan strategy. NATO increased support for for the war in Afghanistan, approved a new Iran strategy plan focused on neutralizing the country's influence, ordered missile strikes against Syrian air base used in chemical weapons attack, prevented subsequent... Everyone forgot about that one.
And by the way, Assad hasn't fucked around with that since.
Weird, huh? Weird.
And Russia pulled out of Syria.
Yeah,
Yes.
Russia did pull out of Syria. Prevented subsequent chemical attacks by announcing a plan to detect them better and warned of future strikes. Ordered new sanctions on the dictatorship in Venezuela. The last group, and I know I'm running up against, so I'll go quick. Restoring confidence in and respect for America. Trump won the release of Americans held abroad using his own personal relationships with the world leaders. Made good on a campaign promise to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and they are now going to name a train station after him in Israel.
Yes.
As a result, conducted a historic 12-day trip through Asia.
That's great.
Winning new cooperative deals. On the trip, he attended 3 regional summits to promote American interests. Traveled to the Middle East and Europe.
Does that mean the Israelis would be on the Trump train?
Hell yeah.
As a matter of fact.
That was brilliant. That was really brilliant.
Yeah.
That's not even funny. That was like amazing. Good job.
Thank
was
you.
Nicely
Yeah,
done.
Thank you.
That was nicely played.
Savvy and
Yeah,
suave. I
right?
appreciated that.
Suave.
It's interesting, provocative, well-seasoned.
Well-seasoned.
Right.
Flavorful.
Oaky. It's very oaky.
Very oaky.
He traveled to the Middle East and Europe to build new relationships with leaders. Traveled to Poland and on to Germany for the G20, where he pushed, again, for funding for female and women entrepreneurs. That was just...
Wait, he went to Germany?
Yes.
I knew the Nazi connection was real.
And there it is. And there it
I'm surprised no leftist threw down on that.
Do you remember?
Look, that is look, for 1 year, that is a phenomenal list of accomplishments.
But if you listen to ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, they're all telling you he hasn't done a damn thing.
He hasn't done a damn thing. He's done nothing. That is a ridiculous list of accomplishments in 1 year.
Right.
In 1 year. And that's what he's done
quietly.
Fighting people on both sides of the aisle.
Both sides of the aisle. He's fighting leftists. He's
news?
fighting Democrats.
Look,
he's fighting the American media maggots. He's fighting the GOP.
The House Intelligence Committee just subpoenaed McCain Associates.
Yes.
On the whole bullshit dossier thing.
Hey, wait a minute.
Dossier.
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 Hey, when was the last time you heard about Antifa?
Right.
That's weird. Where did all those protests go?
Well, remember they were going to plan the big day of action, and
November
it
4th.
Completely fizzled.
Yeah, a year. Yeah.
There are only 1,000 ISIS soldiers in Iraq.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Less than 1,000 now. Here's the other amazing thing, and they touched on it briefly, but one of the things that I thought was the most impressive, because Trump will tell you when Trump does good. When Trump thinks he does well, he'll tell you about it, and he won't be shy about it. The fact that he's had so many releases of Americans held abroad, Mexico,
well,
China.
Did they even mention that?
Yeah, they did mention that.
Did they mention that in there?
They did, but they
his
touched
personal
on it.
relationships. They just touched on it.
He used a lot of personal relationships for that.
They just touched on it.
And the fact that he hasn't talked about that once. We also talked about him showing up at the VA unannounced last week. I believe
Those
it was.
basketball players from UCLA.
Yep, the
That was,
basketball
and
players.
that asshole dad.
But when they talk about what an asshole Trump is, and they love to push that, oh, he's so mean and rough and tumble. Look, he gets all those people on his own personal. He does that with his connections.
Yep.
He shows up at the VA hospital. He's been doing a lot for the VA and veterans in this country.
Yep.
There was the article written by, I forget who it was, but they were talking about how he showed up at the Arlington Cemetery one day and started doing wreaths just out of the blue. Never told anyone he was coming, just landed the helicopter and just started doing it. It really, he has that rough and tumble on the outside, right? When it's time to deal and fight, he can get everyone's faces. But there's the softer, more human side of Donald Trump.
Yes, there
that
is.
Nobody is reporting or talking about, and it's a tragedy.
Except that, have you noticed there's a common thread? The people who actually meet him one-on-one, they all say, wow,
What a nice
I really
guy.
like the guy.
What a nice guy. Even people who are opposing to his beliefs have come away and be like, hey, he's really a nice guy. He's very cordial and polite and friendly and nice and happy.
Who? Have any leftists said that?
Yeah, it was somebody he played golf with, and I can't remember who it was, but it was
Tiger Woods?
No, I don't think Tiger Woods is a leftist, actually. I think Tiger Woods is a conservative.
Is he conservative?
Yeah. But it was somebody on the left who was playing golf with, who was a friend of Tiger Woods, who was a famous person. I can't even remember his name right now. But he was like, he was a really nice guy. Like, he was talking about being the president and what he liked and what he didn't like and how some things were hard. And he was just a human being, and it was just not what I expected at all. Again, stories you will never hear about from the news. The human, they won't make him human.
Yep.
Because that would make people have sympathy for him, and that would make people gravitate towards him.
Which is why
Even
they
more.
cannot afford to have him be successful.
If the media was fair to Donald Trump,
Jesus,
he would be he would be a 2-term president, no problem, hands down. He would win. I would guess he would win most of the country. He'd never win California, or probably Massachusetts, for that matter, or New York. But he would win a majority of the country.
Look, Massachusetts has in the past. They will look. They have a Republican governor. The potential is always there. Even New York, because he's from New York, he may get the vote just from being from New York if they didn't play him out to be this monster. Folks, that's it for the Sackheads Radio Show live.
Wow,
on the SHR
already?
Media Network.
Really?
Make sure you check out BZ tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast.
It's gonna
Right
be
here at
a
SHRmedia.com.
A Kurt Schlichter night.
Kurt Schlichter will join the Bloviating
No, he's not
Zeppelin.
going to be on, but we're going to be reading a whole bunch of stuff about him.
Yeah,
I
close
have to
enough.
be honest.
So he'll be there in spirit. Let's go with
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Okay.
He'll be there in word.
Have a amazing New Year. Be
Word.
safe.
Happy New Year.
Enjoy
Shit,
it.
I'm not
Happy
going to
New
get to
Year,
see
guys.
talk to any of our people in 2017 ever again.
That's right.
Yeah,
We'll see you guys
2017
in 2018.
From the Sackheads, 2017.
Are we doing a
is
show
done.
next week then?
Yes, we are.
Oh, hell, I'll be
First
here.
one of the week, first one of the year, 2018. We got to rock it.
What is that, the third?
We got to rock out with that cock out. Yeah,
So, yeah, that's right. I'm bringing the rooster this year.
absolutely. Folks, we will talk to you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, right here on the SHR Media Network. Have a great
Happy
rest of
New
your day.
Year, America.
Happy New Year, folks.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Shaun and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. But for those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Hark, 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 dude. Hark, 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 dude.
Radio.
Hark, 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 dude. Hark, 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 dude.
Radio.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Hell no, to the no, no.